Chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program. Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Nordo in for PA 9 to noon. PA back at it tomorrow for a Friday football feast. Buffalo Wild Wings in Apple Valley. And so go there, have beverages, and enjoy a 12-2 team's pep fest before they head to Seattle. Before Ben Leber heads to Seattle, sideline analyst, Vikings Radio Network, weekly guest, whether it's the Power Trip, 9 to noon. You hear him on Bumper to Bumper, once or twice a year on Common as well. At Nacho Leber via X. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I kind of miss the biannual Common Show appearance, but we don't want.
That's got to be coming up soon, right?
Yeah, we don't want it more than that. Yeah, it's like 2 is about right.
Well, it would get repetitive otherwise.
It would,
and for the program, that's not really what they're looking for.
No, that's not what they're about.
You are brought to us by Maple Grove Lock and Safe. I don't want you to do it now. Do you have a lock of the week potentially for us as we go to Seattle?
I have one.
Don't unveil it.
Yeah, let's not do it yet.
So that's the big tease. I saw. You know that I'm your biggest statistical cheerleader. You do know that among all of us here in the building.
Yeah.
I have gone to great lengths. To make sure that you understand how vital you were to this Vikings team during your time here.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Post San Diego, you head to the Minnesota Vikings in 2006. And 2006 also happens to be the last time the Minnesota Vikings won at CenturyLink/Lumen Field. That's how long it's been, Ben. The last time the Vikings beat the Seahawks in their building with the low cloud cover and the 12s. And at that time, I don't know if it was Sean Alexander or who was raising the 12 flag. 2006.
My God, really?
Fresh out of the bye, you guys go to Seattle. And do you remember a certain 95-yard touchdown run in that game potentially? Because I heard you guys.
No. But if you play it, I'll remember it.
Chester Taylor, I don't have the highlights with me today. No, I usually get the highlights, but there was a little bit of traffic this morning.
Yeah, of course.
Because of the snow, and I'm sorry, I'll never let it happen again. But while I was driving in, I was listening to you and Fargo Flash. Like, Fargo Flash remembers every single game of his high school career, a fair amount of his college career. You're like, I don't care. I don't know. I think we won a lot of games, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, as long as we were like in it and we were competitive. Like, I remember if we had success or not, but I don't remember individual scores. And that particular game, I believe I had a sack fumble.
Well, that's what I was going to get, because all you do is make plays in monumental games. It's the last time that we won at CenturyLink.
Sure.
You had the sack fumble that who fell on in the end zone?
Is it Kevin Williams?
It was Kevin Williams.
Yeah.
So for the rest of time, everyone's going to look at Kevin Williams, borderline Hall of Famer, and they're going to say, hey, he had that touchdown, that defensive touchdown against the Seahawks. Nobody's going to remember number 51 who sacked the guy. And I should have had it in front of me as I'm shooting from the lip right now. I'm going to find it. Was it still Hasselbeck in 2006?
No.
Or was it Seneca Wallace?
It might have been Seneca Wallace.
Nope, it was Matt.
It was?
It was Hasselbeck in that game. He hit Darrell Jackson for a 72-yard touchdown.
Did he get injured in that game? Because I think I sacked Seneca.
Oh, wow. See?
Seneca did play, yeah.
It's all coming back to you. Hasselbeck, 7-17. That's brutal. $127 had a TD. The long one, as I mentioned, to Darrell Jackson. Seneca Wallace, $134, 2 picks and 2 sacks. It must have been, and he had the fumble lost. You sacked Seneca Wallace.
Yeah.
Kevin Williams scores a touchdown. Everyone is celebrating the work of Kevin Williams. No one is celebrating the work of the linebacker, Ben Leber.
Okay, this is actually kind of cool. So I looked up Kevin Williams' stats as you were talking.
Yeah. Could we agree one of the best defensive interior linemen of the last 25 years?
Oh yeah.
That's not a controversial topic.
No. He's fantastic. Here's the deal. I thought this number would be much higher. Number of fumble recoveries for touchdowns. He has 2.
Ooh.
2 in his whole illustrious career.
Only 2?
He had one in 2004. And then he had the one that I created in 2006. That's it. Not another one the whole rest of his career.
That's keeping him out of Canton, probably. That's probably what it is, the lack of defensive touchdowns. He should have played more years with you as a setup man.
We played 5 years together, so I had lots of opportunities to create more fumbles.
Because in every alley-oop, right? I mean, every time Mike Conley throws it up to Rudy Gobert, they love the slam by the Frenchman. They don't remember that perfect, absolute floating piece of beauty from Conley. You're Mike Conley in this conversation.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is his counterpart, Pat Williams. It seems like every time I see Pat, which is actually surprisingly more than you would think, he always somehow brings up the fact that he caused the fumble that I picked up for a 1-yard touchdown against the Lions for my only fumble recovery for a touchdown. So he definitely lets me know how much I should appreciate his play on that play.
Well, in those defenses, when it was the Williams wall, I mean, he obviously was playing second fiddle to Kevin when it came to that kind of conversation. It was Big Pat. I don't even know if Pat lives locally anymore, but I would see him specifically in the Edina area at times, and nobody ever had a bigger smile on his face. Had this sweet, just old classic car convertible that he would cruise around in. But he had to be frustrated at times with the fact that, I mean, it's Kevin Williams. You know, in that case you mentioned he made the play that led to your success. So you're running around. Did you even know what to do when you scored? Did you spike the football?
Oh, no. I just put my arms up in the air and that was it. You know, nothing, no Cam Bynum-esque sort of pre-planned celebration. Not at all.
What dance would you have hit if you had hit a celebration dance? Like, what's your go-to dance move?
God, I mean, I probably would have just done the white boy Gronk move because, you know, there's
would you flex on him? You got to flex on him.
Nah, I didn't. You know, I think
any crotch chops.
No, at the time
that would have been a fine.
That
back
definitely
then.
would have been a fine, and I tried to play by the rules when it comes to that stuff. I like my money. I wanted to keep my money. It just would have been to Gronk's spike, probably. That's about it. Max, I have no dance moves. None. I got, I can.
Not
I
even
can
like
shake,
the sprinkler?
I can shake the hips a little bit. I can do a little hip thrusting, but that's not going to fly back in those days.
It's funny, small aside, and I forgot the player, so I probably shouldn't even bring it up. But recently there was a player, speaking of liking your money, he was fined like $45,000, and he makes like $30,000 a game. Like he was fined more than an actual game check. And I just, there has to be kind of a percentage of, right? Like let's say it's a 5%
Was
fine.
it Al Shire for the hit on Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, what if it was?
Could have been that. I mean, I don't think that he signed for big money, so he could have, maybe he got a bonus and his per game check was less than his fine.
Hopefully somebody pays it for him. Isn't that kind of the bit once in a while?
Well, I don't know.
If you're elevated practice squad player, and maybe it's a borderline bit where it wasn't egregious, but the NFL just comes in with the gavel on them.
Yeah,
maybe the Harrison Smith. I'm not putting this on Harry. It wasn't even Vikings related, but like the guy with the most money in the room, and everyone knows who it is. Maybe he just rolls and he's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I've heard.
You can pay me back.
I've heard, but I've never seen the actual maybe stub or receipt saying that it was not deducted from your paycheck. But there have been rumors that if it's a hard, aggressive football play and the whole organization doesn't believe that should be a fine, that I've heard that they will take care of it. The NFL gets some money. It's just not coming from the player.
Is it Pacheco?
It was Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh, when he dropped his helmet.
He dropped his helmet.
Oh God, one.
He was fined $45,000, and I think that's more than his game check because he's a 7th round player on a rookie deal. Yeah, it's more than he made that weekend in the freaking game.
Yeah, it says he gets about 54 per game. So
there you go. So he played for free.
82%.
He played for free.
Yeah, basically.
Now that's before taxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfreaking believable.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
But looking at this game, so you're excited to get. It's cool to be home. You had the 3 weeks seemingly endless on the road. You're going to Jacksonville. You're watching bad games. Then you get 3 in a row at home, which is sweet. The team's won 7 straight. But this has been for, again, going 18 years, going back to 06. And it's been 18 years a boogeyman of beating, and for many of those years it was Russell Wilson, but beating the Seahawks has been a problem with this team for so long. What are you most excited about as other than maybe the chance to chill and take in the Pacific Northwest? What are you most excited about with the game this weekend, 12-2 team with the NFC North in its grip?
Well, obviously, I want to see, how we respond to the recent success that we've had, how we respond to a lot of the praise that we've gotten. And I think this team knows that there is a lot to play for. That's the thing. It's, statistically and probability, if you win out, you have almost 100% chance that you're going to be the number 1 seed and get that bye week. But in the back of your mind as a player, if you think that there's a higher probability that you're going to be on the road for that first playoff game, well, this is a good test. I mean, this is a team that we could face, in the first round. And I would hate to face them at their place in the first round, even though I think that they're the inferior team. But I think it's a good test to see, all right, how mentally tough are we ready for the challenge that if we have to go on the road here in a couple of weeks, that we can play a team that might be just like Seattle or go to Tampa or something like that, or maybe Arizona. But I just want to see, how we respond to the loud environment. If we get rattled, if we can stop some of the pre-snap penalties. Now, granted, this last game, it was mostly just one player offensively that was creating a lot of pre-snap penalties.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a systemic thing.
No, damn it, Cam.
Yeah. But, you still have to have those players not make those mistakes. So can they go in a really, really loud environment and operationally not feel like there's any hiccups? That's a few of the things I'll be watching. I mean, obviously, defensively, it all just depends on what the Seahawks are going to show us on offense. They have been all over the board. Yeah. And I don't think that they have found an identity. It's certainly not the identity that I feel like most people mythically think of the Seattle Seahawks. They do run the ball decent when they can get going, but they're just not a great running football team. And Geno Smith is a little banged up, and they're not right now. The first-year coordinator is really not doing the things that he does well. So I don't know what we're going to see, because they bounce back and forth between, kind of the Geno Smith that we've seen the last couple of years versus what they tried to emulate at the University of Washington, which is where the offensive coordinator came from.
Well, I'm glad I kind of put it on you to say what I eventually was going to ask, and you laid it out perfectly, because I have Hugh Millen on during the final hour, and I mentioned that because I have no idea what the identity is of the Seahawks, and that was kind of one of my first questions I'm going to ask him, who analyzes the team and has been close to it. Is they do run the ball, sure, but save for Zach Charbonnet blowing up a couple weeks ago against Arizona, they haven't really shown a commitment to that. Mm-hmm. Then similarly, Jackson Smith and Jigba, is that just a rookie that's taking over and truly blossoming and becoming the A topic of the team? Or is there something wrong with DK? Does DK Metcalf need to step up? He didn't practice yesterday. He's nicked up, certainly. But this team doesn't do anything elite. They just also don't do anything badly, and none of their games appear to have any true defined flow to it. And so I've been as confused against an opponent, and I guess this leads into, we don't play them every year like we would in the division and such. So, but teams that are 8-6 and vying for playoff spots, they typically have some sort of, as you mentioned, identity,
right?
A thing that, well, that's Seahawks football. This is coming. Pete Carroll had that forever. So now you got new head coach, which plays into this too. I just don't know what the hell they do well. They just don't do anything bad. And they're gripping it a little bit as the Rams have re-entered the conversation of taking that division. And it looks like theirs to lose at this point. So this feels like a playoff game for Geno and McDonald, the new coach. But that's the thing, man. I don't hey, what are we looking at with the Seahawks? I don't know. Kenneth Walker could play. I don't know. DK could go for 100 yards and 2 scores, or he'll get 50 on 3 targets like he has 6 of the last 8 weeks. You just have no clue what's going to happen. It's weird.
Yeah, that's 100%. It's like I don't really know what to expect. And of course, it's the National Football League. This is a talented team with some talented players. So there's always the possibility of like, well, we can't have this game be the game where DK goes off. We can't have this game turn out to have a rushing attack like they had against Arizona. We can't have this game for the defense to show up. Like,
right.
So you have to like, prepare against that. But at the same time, this is not, I guess their offensive identity is to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because they are a passing team, but they're not that good at it.
Right.
So it's like the identity is to throw the football, but it's going to be a lot of sort of short intermediate throws. Tackling is going to be paramount, and they don't really try to go over the top that much. They don't play action that much. I mean, this is a really interesting stat, and this actually kind of ties into something that's very topical. But Geno Smith ranks 29th in the league in the number of in the percentage of play action passes that they are called. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Of the qualifying 30 quarterbacks of the 29, he's 29th, right? Take a guess who's last. And this is
there's no way.
This is very topical.
It's really Kirk?
Kirk Cousins ranks dead last in the percentage of play action passes called this season. And people want to go out there and say this is all a Kirk problem.
Yeah.
So, yes, has he looked bad? Certainly. Does it look like he doesn't have a lot of flow? Certainly. I will just, again, say that this is more of an offensive failure on Atlanta's part than it is a Kirk Cousins situation.
Well, that's a good transition into it because I wanted to get your thoughts specifically on Kirk because it is and in Minnesota too, it's a little bit of it's high fives to Kwesi and KO for not taking that money, moving on. They pulled the string at the right time. And there certainly is some credence to that. But in the moment, specifically in the game we played against him, that's where I watched it the most. I also watched him throw for 500 earlier this season. I watched him grind out a win against the Eagles, stuff like that. You're watching a completely different game flow in terms of how that offense operates than what we were used to in Minnesota. And, Kevin O'Connell certainly had him on a trajectory of the fattest of fat career numbers, but it all starts back in 2019. DiFilippo gets fired in 2018. Stefanski takes over at the end of that season, and instantly it's Dalvin Cook for 200 yards against the Dolphins, and that season ends. And then you started to really see in 2019 the play action and him working specifically under center on the play action and turning his back to the defense, planting that foot and letting her fly. And you don't see any of that. And that was kind of, I talked about it yesterday, I forget it either with Lavelle or Sinekin, is on paper, when he went to money aside, forget about the cash, how good of a situation was he going into specifically with that offense? With London, maybe Kyle Pitts is a thing, maybe he is not. But in the end, with Bijan Robinson in particular, if he was going to walk into a situation that will do the things that Kirk does best and get the most out of it, there may be no better place in the NFL than Atlanta. And then Zach Robinson, I think is the name of the offensive coordinator down there, who may come from the McVay tree. Is that accurate? Yep. The Rams connection there. They all are apparently these days. Zach Robinson has just made a mess of that thing. And he deserves a ton of the criticism that is being laid at the shoulders, or at the feet, I should say, of Kirk Cousins. It's crazy.
100%. And the funny thing is that even if Zach Robinson's coming from that tree, and he has experience with Stafford and with Goff, any one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's not the offense that you'd run with any three of them.
Right.
So you take Kirk, you take Goff, you take Stafford. Like, what he's doing at Atlanta is a college offense. So I don't understand it. To me, again, it is as if like they knew that they wanted to take a guy like Michael Penix to be the future of the franchise. They way overpaid for a gap quarterback.
Right.
That it seems like in the back of their mind that he was only going to be there for a year anyway. It's probably playing out exactly how they wanted it, to let him mentor this young. What are they doing organizationally to pay him that much money to be that guy when you did nothing to cater the offense to his strengths? And I know that everybody has their own philosophies, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna run my offense, but how foolish is that to look at a guy that, like, why wouldn't you look at his tape? And you know that with his experience in the NFL as a coach, that he's been watching his tape. He's seen what he's been doing. He's seen what KOC's done. And he's like, I need to do that. And then I have this shiny new toy in Michael Penix that I can do these other things. I have all these other big ideas to do with him. I can implement though in whatever offseason he takes over.
Yeah.
But for now, I have to do what Kirk does best. So I don't buy into this idea that, like, well, you know, he's coming off an Achilles and he's just not that mobile. You don't have to be that mobile. You don't have to be that mobile. You just have to design things blocking scheme wise to get him outside the pocket, or, you know, to turn his back, you know, off of run action to do what he does best and actually hand the ball off to Bijan to make play action work. Like, the whole thing was just a cluster. And I'm not, again, there are a lot of throws that I saw Kirk make that I'm like, those are just throws that you can't make those throws. Like, you have to do a better job. So was he making poor decisions? Yes. But I don't think he was ever given a chance to get into a rhythm to be the type of guy that he was to warrant that contract. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. Going back all the way back to Seattle, I think it's very interesting that Geno Smith, his best attributes, and when he became comeback player of the year a couple years ago, a lot of it was based off of the run action, the play action, him turning his back a little bit to the defense, using that run game. They're not doing any of that with Grubbs' offense.
Yeah.
I mean, they're near the bottom of the league in rushing attempts. It's not like you can say they're terrible at running the football. They don't even try. So, like, and then they don't even use play action off of it. So their identity, for whatever reason, is shotgun, throw the ball short, let their guys go out there and make some plays, and it's just not working.
No, it is not. We're going to continue this conversation around the corner. We're also going to get, thank you to Maple Grove Lock and Safe, we're going to get Ben's Lock of the Week as we enter another NFL football weekend. Of course, Focus 3:05 kickoff, Lumen Field, Vikings and Seahawks 13-2. Ahoy! More around the corner. It's Nordo in for PA 9 to noon.
Join the Power Trips Corey Cove at Treasure Island this Saturday for a wild watch party. Stop by Parlay at 5 p.m. to enter for your chance to win great prizes. Then stick around for the puck drop between the Wild and the Jets at 6 p.m. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Nordo in for PA. PA returning mañana. The Vikings hopefully returning from Seattle with a victory on Sunday afternoon at Lumen Field. Typically, we do Sioux Cup manufacturing. We do pressure points. I think I got that. Let me see here. Pressure points by Sioux Cup Manufacturing. Thank you, Sioux Cup. The reason I bring that up, though, is if we were going to do pressure points today, I think one of the first things that you said when I asked you about Sunday's game and just things that you're looking for or looking forward to is kind of the idea of you got to own up to the challenge. I mean, right now, like all expectations and everything aside, this team's won 7 straight, and Sam Darnold playing the best football of his career. Everybody knows that, but the way this defense has come together, et cetera, the fact that this team has not dealt with, thankfully, some of the injury issues that other teams have. That's been certainly a helpful part of this process. But now it's in your fingertips. Now the division is yours. You win out, and you are NFC North champions. And I actually have something from Zone Coverage during the final hour. It's not as fluid as just win out and you're the 1 seed. But you win out and some things fall your way with some of the other games over the next few weeks, and you're going to be getting a bye week, and all games go through U.S. Bank Stadium. That's pretty amazing. But you do actually now have to go out and do it, and you have to go out and execute. And so I love the way you put it, and that for me, that's my biggest pressure point is, you can win these games at home, and you're starting to feel your oats a little bit, and although it was sleepy, it's you're putting 30 points on the Bears. You embarrassed the Falcons for the most part as well 2 weeks ago. Now go do the same thing to the Seahawks. You know what I mean? And I think it can be easier said on paper as we start to get really excited about it than it can be in practice. But that's what I'm looking for. The pressure is on them just to continue this run.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I know that there are people out there that don't care much for style points. In the NFL, it is just about getting wins and losses. And I think that's mostly true. I think the thing that all differentiate just a little bit, and when I look at this game, is when you're the better team, not just by a slim margin, but when you're the better team, I think handedly, that's when style points matter. Because those style points, it's not just points on paper. As a player, you're proving to yourself that you are a great football team. And there's a confidence building that comes with style points. Because that's domination.
It is.
When you walk away from a game, especially if you go out on the road to Lumen Field and you dominate them on the road in a tough environment.
Like the Packers just did, by the way.
Like the Packers just did. It's not just sort of superficial style points. That builds all this momentum and this confidence as we get late into December, into the playoffs. That means something. Now, if they go out there and they eke out a 3-point win and it's tough and whatever, like, you feel good about that. I'm like, okay, we got the win.
Battle tested.
You can use all those little things. But like at this point, when we're playing an inferior team, I do want style points. I do want us to go out there and keep up this momentum that we've had the last couple of games and just stick it to them and just keep their hammer down. Defense play hot. Don't let them have any ounce of success. And then just take that win, come back on the long road trip and be like, all right, now we are really truly confidently ready to take on the Packers and the Lions and try to win out these next 2 games.
So with that said, thank you to Maple Grove Lock and Safe, not just for bringing us Ben Leber on a weekly basis during the football season and beyond, but bringing us the lock of the week. So it's important here that you stand tall in whatever your decision is. We still remember that we guilted you into the 5 sacks, but you've been pretty on point. How about most recently, 2 weeks ago, I should say, your lock of the week? I wasn't here last Thursday, so I don't know if it panned out. But your lock of the week was Sam Darnold calling out his first 300-yard game against the Falcons. He goes for 350. He has the game of his career with the 5 TDs. Do you have anything juicy for us this week that we can rest our hopes on?
I forget what I said last week, but
it didn't pan out.
I don't know. I mean, again, going back to what we talked about with Kenzemis, it might have worked out. I just don't care enough to really think about it, I guess.
You don't care about style points.
I don't care about style points.
At least for yourself.
At least for myself. Everybody else I do. Myself, no. All right, here's my Maple Grove Lock and Safe lock of the week. Now, this is going to be a weird one, a different one. This might come out of left field. We will not give up an offensive touchdown in this game.
Whoa.
Lock it. If they score a touchdown, it'll be because of special teams and defense. But I think our defense is going to hold them out of the end zone the whole game.
So not Tyler Lockett, Maple Grove Lock and Safe Lockett.
Correct.
The Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I misspoke earlier. It's his second season. He's not a rookie. DK Metcalf, Charbonnet, Walker.
Throw Noah Fan in there too. Yeah.
How about him? I mean, he still scratches together. I remember how highly touted he was out of Iowa. Doesn't work in Denver. He's part of the Russ Wilson trade. And you still see him out there periodically.
But, kind of a fun name that you think is going to be a bigger deal in the NFL, and it just really hasn't panned out. So the reason why I say that is that they are struggling with their identity.
Yeah.
There might be some weather that's going to impact this game. Right now, I think they're calling for 50 degrees and rain. So that's not great. That's not great for me personally, to be out there on the sideline.
Do you get a poncho down there, or you just tough it out?
I do have a rain jacket, I guess.
Okay.
I think that they're going to come into this game wanting to run the football much more balanced and effectively than they have the last couple of weeks.
Does your head get cold when it's 50 degrees out there?
It does. Yeah. I've become very soft when it comes to weather these days as I've gotten older. So I will be probably the only guy inside with the stocking cap on and my hoodie up, my rain jacket hoodie. They are going to try to run the football.
Yes, they will.
And I think they're going to have a little bit of success, right? I don't think they're going to go over 100 yards, but I think they'll have a little bit of success. I think the pull schemes, that might actually get us, especially since Ivan Pace is not going to be out there. At least that's how I would attack us. I'd try to use some pullers and stuff like that. Geno Smith is not good in the red zone. He's actually one of the worst quarterbacks passer rating in the red zone. we are pretty hot in the red zone. We're just outside the top 10 in the red zone, but for a while we've been one of the best teams in the red zone.
Well, and that was after some brutal times, and now we've been absolutely locked down in recent weeks,
So you add all that stuff together. Again, I think they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit effectively. They're going to run the football, not only because they're trying to find a little bit more of an identity, but because the weather's going to play a part of it. Then they're going to get down the red zone, and we're going to lock them down like we've been locking down a lot of teams and a lot better offenses. So they're not going to be able to run the football down there on us. They're not going to be able to throw the football effectively on us. So the way I'm looking at it, to be bold and to put something out there, I don't think that our defense gives up a touchdown. So if they score 6 points, well, it might just have to come from special teams or our offense giving the ball away.
And that is your Maple Grove lock and safe lock of the week. The Seattle Seahawks will not score an offensive touchdown. Now, the special teams group, I got to be honest with you, we're loving the kicker, but we've had some weird things happen over the course of this year. Muff punts, and now we got punters getting kicked, or I should say just getting blasted and all of that. So hopefully there is no special teams related negativity either. Thank you so much. Well, I don't even need to watch the game now, to be honest. I'm just going to be ready and fired up for Fan Line after the win. Offense isn't going to score a touchdown for the Seahawks. Tough to lose those ones. And if it does come down to a field goal battle, we got the Alabama rookie. We feel confident with him. Excited to see you on the sidelines in a stocking camp and a poncho.
Oh, I'll be bundled. I'll be the most bundled up person on the sidelines. Yes. Thanks, man. That's
Ben Leber at Nacho Leber, Maple Grove Lock and Safe. Thank you. News around the corner. It's Nordo in for PA 9 to noon.
Fan.
Tune in every 9 to noon, every Tuesday as PA broadcasts live from TCO to talk all things purple. TCO Tuesdays are powered by Sukup Manufacturing.
Happy Thursday. I can't speak for everybody, but as I just offer my own anecdotal weather report, it appears as though the snowflakes have stopped here out this one particular side of this one individual building in St. Louis Park. So that's your weather report. Snow's done. Storm's over. And cheers for listening to 9 to noon on a Thursday morning, which brings us to News du Nord, which is brought to you by The Casino, not just a casino, The Casino at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com for all the information. And you've heard me, I rattle through it almost every day. It's poker, it's blackjack, it's table games. You're feeling the felt 24/7 all year. At Canterbury, you're having sips at chips. And if Derek Allen's working, make sure to over-tip him so then he doesn't go to the host of 9 to noon for some extra walking around cash. And then we're managing mood swings on a Tuesday. See, it all comes back to me somehow. But on Thursdays in particular, you get the free MVP card. You just walk up to the desk in the card casino. You get a free MVP card. And you can make picks on NFL games in the weekend. Started at 10 a.m., as a matter of fact. They do it all day today. Go in there, make your picks with the free MVP card. If you're correct, if you're really good at it, you can win hundreds of dollars. And they do that every week during the NFL season. So CanterburyPark.com. Where are we headed to first?
We
Mr.
are headed
Fuller?
to the Meadowlands. Of course, there's always the local angles, but I just got to get your opinion on this story, Nordo.
Okay.
Diana Rossini, I believe, with The Athletic and TheAthletic.com, reported this morning that the New York Jets were nearing the finish line on a deal to acquire wide receiver Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos last offseason, but the trade fell apart when Jets owner Woody Johnson nixed the idea because Jerry Jeudy's player rating in Madden was too low.
That can't be a real story. That's a real report from Diana Rossini of The Athletic.
It's a real story, and apparently it was not the only time he cited Madden ratings when evaluating players. He pushed back on signing free agent guard John Simpson in the offseason because his awareness rating in the Madden video game was low. To some, these references to the Madden game is a sign that his teenage sons are influencing the franchise.
Well, that part is obvious. That part, his overall rating on Madden was not high enough.
I thought it was faked. I had to look several times. I'm like, is this like an NBA Centel situation? Is this some fake news, some AI-generated news? But it is very, very real.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how to. It's insane. and preposterous. The guy is the owner, so ultimately he can run the business how he sees fit. If indeed overall ratings and awareness ratings on a video game are leading to actual transactions taking place with your NFL team, then I would look behind Woody and I see one of his kids, just hammering away on a Switch or a DS or something, and I go, yeah, I guess I can see that. This is why moments like this, that you should be incredibly thankful that the Wilfs are the owners of your favorite football team. And, part of it is knowing what you're really, really good at, real estate guys from New York. And then also knowing where maybe you need to, that's part of being a great leader, right? Delegating responsibilities, realizing your vision, putting everything in place for that vision to come to fruition. But then maybe there are certain areas, part of that delegation piece, that you're not great at, that you don't have a career or decades of experience in, and maybe you just kind of chill on that. Well, we're going to hire somebody else. In this case, we hire general managers. In this case, we hire scouts. In this case, we hire decision makers and actual football people to make those decisions. And so, thankfully, and I can't necessarily confirm this, but I'm actually going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah at no point during this offseason turned on Madden to see if Jonathan Grenard might be worth that 4-year deal. At no point did he turn on Madden and go, I want to see the lateral quickness of Blake Cashman to see if he fits into this defense. Ooh, Van Ginkel, he's underrated in the national news, but he's not underrated on Madden. Got him. I don't think at any point in time our general manager, our front office, used a video game to make actual decisions as it pertains to personnel. Now, Madden, a lot of people down on EA over the last. I haven't played Madden in so many years, but I've heard that it's the gradual degradation of it due to the lack of updates, continued glitches. The value of buying the new copies, save for new players on new teams, etc. And maybe, I know they have like origin story bits, and there's almost like an RPG aspect of it. It's dumb. And so,
especially because video games are $70 a pop for a new game these days.
So and they come out every year.
Yeah, it's just not worth it anymore.
What are you getting for $70? Now everybody's in on GTA 6 though, right?
Oh yeah, everybody's always in on GTA. Yeah, that's going to be worth it. We've been playing GTA 5 for what? The better part of almost 2 decades now. It seems like
it's crazy.
It'll last you a lifetime.
The last one I truly got into this. I'm not a video game person, for better or worse. I'm not ripping anybody who is. I'm just not. So, like Vice City for me was like life changing.
Vice City was classic.
And that's 20 years ago now. Yeah. And I think I played it on the PS2 at the time. Yep. So it's been a long time. But I don't even know what to say. That's ridiculous. They could have used Judy early. They ultimately get to Devontae Adams. The team has since fired their head coach while Woody was making personnel decisions via Xbox. And their team is destitute once again. Maybe, albeit a small sample size, this individual singular situation lends to the idea that this team has not been good in years. They have been a place where quarterbacks go to loathe, where they go to take and dip their toes into a vat of malaise and generally don't come back from it. Our guy Sam Darnold on making some sort of resurrection tour, thankfully with the opportunity Kevin O'Connell gave him. They haven't really been. Have they even been in the playoffs since Rex Ryan had a foot on everything? And that defense was so good, and they went to a couple of AFC title games with Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble and all of that. That's embarrassing if that's accurate. But if Diana Rossini reported it, I'm going to trust Diana. And what am I going to say? You got Aaron Rodgers. He's on video, high on ayahuasca, talking about butterflies and stuff. And then we're making decisions based off of Madden. And they're in the largest media market in the country. Like, what is going on, Woody? Sell the freaking team. My goodness, that's unbelievable. Where to next?
Yeah, I can only.
Let's catch up on the clock, and then we'll continue because we do want to jump into, as we start the final hour, Not only the Minnesota Wild getting thumped by the Panthers last night, they're hosting Utah on Friday. Injury issues galore. Talked with Michael Russo about it. But the Cat came back. Karl Anthony Towns, he's going to be at Target Center tonight. We'll offer some thoughts on that around the corner. And then Hugh Millen analyzing the Seattle Seahawks. He's going to join us around 11:20 as we break down this one at Lumen Field on Sunday. And maybe we can find out exactly what the identity is of this weekend's opponent. Thank you to Maxx. News to Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. A couple more nuggets from Maxx when we return right here on The Fan.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
After Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey, Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, "Hey, Meta," to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.